Everybody, welcome back to another Godzilla battling video, and today I am talking about Shin Godzilla. Yesterday we did Jet Jaguar. Last week we did Destroyer. I'm here to talk to you today about Shin Godzilla. What do I think about him? First things first, let's look at the changes between last patch and this patch. So, Godzilla, the first form, Kamada-kun, lowered the cost, shortened the evolution time. Second form, or I guess the third form, which is the red little penis monster guy, lowered the cost of him, shortened the evolution time. Awesome. We saw the same buffs for Destroy Flying Form. Destroy Flying Form was a 5 cost, now a 3 cost. Both of the Shin Godzilla forms are pretty low. I think they're both 3. I don't remember. I know the second one is 3. The first one I'm pretty sure is also still 3. But the second form also had that shortened evolution time. Godzilla 2016, or Shin Godzilla proper, has an increased attack damage and increased search range. Destroyer got about a 60% damage boost right between this update and the last. Shin Godzilla, I believe, got something closer to a 20 or a 23% boost, so not nearly as powerful as Destroyer, but not a nothing burger either. And he had his search range increased. That's really good. He used to have to be really, really close for his attacks to pop off. Now he can get it going from a decent amount of range, but to fight most of the flyers, he kind of still has to get kind of close. So, what do I think about Shin Godzilla? I definitely think he's in a better spot than he was in the previous update. I don't think there's any bad changes with this update between, Destroyer, Shin Godzilla, Jet Jaguar. Just outright, I think all the changes that they made to all the characters are really good. These are 3 characters that saw virtually 0 play, and now they're seeing a bunch of play, regardless of which they are. Although I think Shin Godzilla kind of got the short end of the buffs this go around. He is fine. He's got a lot of damage. He's got a decent amount of health. It's now way easier to evolve him and get him up onto the field. He's still super slow, so your push is normally just going to start outpacing Shin Godzilla, which isn't great. And he's still a single target attacker, except when fighting the flyers. And that, I think, is still the biggest detriment to Shin Godzilla, is that he's not hitting that AoE. That AoE that he hits with this damage buff that he's gotten is really powerful. It is really, really powerful. But if your opponent is playing smart, they're going to make your Shin Godzilla only do single target attacks, and then he's going to get ripped up by just about everything else that's fighting him. He has an extremely good AoE that is limited to just flyer units, and I really do think that needs to be changed. He needs to be strictly using that AoE. No more of this tail beam. I don't like it. I don't care for it. Strictly AoE would be the best change that he could possibly get. But he's easier to evolve. It's like what? It's like something like 15 seconds or something like that, 20 seconds, something like that, to get his forms popping off, which is great. The first form is basically now a guaranteed evolution. The second form, I feel, has always been guaranteed. Not guaranteed when he's just like, halfway up the battlefield and he's, very vulnerable. But if he dies, you can just spawn him behind you. That's really solid. You can see right here, I get Shin Godzilla for 3 energy. It's fantastic. It's like getting Destroyer. Although I think Shin Godzilla is definitely easier to evolve than Destroyer is. Other than that, I think Shin Godzilla definitely has a home in a bunch of decks. But I don't think he is meta. And I don't think he's going to be seeing like meta play. I think that Destroyer definitely is shaping the meta around him right now in the low-cost units. Jet Jaguar has a really good home with the low-cost units right now in the meta. Shin Godzilla was meant to be the premier anti-air unit. He was introduced last year. Was it last year? 2022. Shin Godzilla was introduced in 2022 when the flying meta was at an all-time ridiculous level. Batra. Every single match had Batra. Every single match had Leo. Every single match had Fire Rodan. Mega Gearus was still viable. King Ghidorah was still extremely viable. Shin Godzilla was introduced as the answer to a problem that we were having every match, and that was the 5-cost flyer meta. And if you played the game last year, and you've been a veteran or you've been in the Discords and stuff, you know the 5-cost meta. The 5-cost meta still exists. A lot of the best cards, or characters I should say, are 5-cost. A large portion of them are flyers, and now we have what? Super X is a 5-cost flyer, technically. I mean, I say technically, it is a flyer, it's 5-cost. It was 3-cost, besides the point. The 10th Angel, super good, 5-cost flyer. Ultraman, 5-cost flyer. Shin Godzilla was meant to be the answer to that problem. However, we're at a point in time where the meta has shifted away from 5-cost flyers. Yes, you're still seeing Fire Odan sparingly, a lot less now because Megalon nullifies the heals. You're seeing Batras a lot less now because there are just other options to get boosts up, you know. Megalon, first of all, is taking away the damage boost from Batras, from Space Godzillas, from Biolantes. You're seeing GMK. Ever since GMK was introduced, Batras have been seeing a lot less play because they can take away that boost. You're seeing units with self-boost like, what's his name? Monster Zero, King Ghidorah 2019. You can see there's just way more ways to get buffs out on the field, and there's way more ways to take them away, so Batra is seeing a lot less play. Leo is probably the only 5-cost flyer that is reliably seeing like a considerable amount of play still, just because of how tanky he is and how much damage he can deal. Mothra Leo is a really good character. You're not seeing a ton of 10th Angels. You're not seeing a ton of Super X's. You're not seeing a ton of Ultramans, even though I think all 3 of those characters are super viable right now. So the Shin Godzilla buffs are really good. I like them. I like what he can bring to your team and to the table. He's definitely one of the best answers to anti-air. But the buffs come too little, too late. We have entered a meta where Shin Godzilla is not needed other than for flavor. The 5-cost flyers are not seeing a ton of play. Flyers in general are seeing less and less play because the ground units are so powerful. Okay? So the less flyers there are in the meta, the less viable your Shin Godzilla is going to be. Because you know what you can also drop on the field for pretty much the same as Shin Godzilla? Destroya. And he's going to do fucking work no matter what with his buff. Shin Godzilla is a good character, and if you want to use him in your deck, I think you can feel comfortable having him in, even though he's not the most viable option right now, but he is definitely a fan favorite, so it's understandable if you want to put him in your deck. I wouldn't, just because I think that the meta has evolved in the year that he's been out against Shin Godzilla. He was introduced to deal with flyers. He was really bad at dealing with flyers when he came in. Right now, he's the best he's ever been, and there's no flyers for him to fuck up. It's as simple as that. Too little, too late. If this was how he dropped originally, he would have been meta. He would have changed the meta completely. 100%. The 5-cost flyer meta would have been gone, right? Or it would have been who can get their Shin out fastest. But unfortunately, we've evolved past the Shin Godzilla anti-air meta, and we're now in a low-cost, low-damage, high DPS meta, and that's just is what it is. It's unfortunate timing for Shin Godzilla, and that's why I think he got the lowest end of the shaft. Not that the buffs are bad, it's just he's not necessary. You don't need him anymore. The job that he's supposed to fulfill is not needed, which is unfortunate for such a fan-favorite character. But he looks cool, and the buffs are great, and so he's definitely seeing a lot more play, but his niche, just not there anymore. So that's what I got for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.